You stopped. Somewhere along the way, you just stopped. Not your body. Your body kept moving. You kept waking up. You kept showing up. You kept going through the motions, but you stopped. The real you, the version of you that used to dream without limits, the version that believed something extraordinary was possible, that version went quiet. And the worst part, you got used to it. You got comfortable with smallness. You made peace with mediocrity. You told yourself this is just being realistic. You convinced yourself that wanting more is selfish, that standing up for yourself is arrogant, that focusing on your own life is somehow wrong. But let me ask you something. When did you become the last priority in your own life? When did everyone else's opinion start living rent-free in your head while you paid the price? When did you forget that you matter? Because here's what I know about you. You didn't come here by accident. Something inside you is still fighting. Something in you refuses to accept that this is all there is. That quiet voice that keeps whispering, there's more. That's not weakness. That's the truth. And today, right now, it's time to listen to it. It's time to focus. It's time to reclaim what's yours. It's time to value yourself, like your entire life depends on it, because it does. You know what exhaustion really feels like? Not the kind where your body is tired, not the kind that sleep fixes. I'm talking about the exhaustion of constantly giving everything you have to everyone else and walking away from every single day feeling completely empty. You pour into people who never pour back. You show up for others who disappear when you need them. You shrink yourself, your dreams, your voice, your needs, so that other people feel comfortable around you, and you do it with a smile. Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that being selfless is noble, that putting yourself last is a virtue, that your value lives in how much you sacrifice. So you sacrificed, and you sacrificed, and you kept sacrificing until there was almost nothing left of you to give. You canceled your own plans. You swallowed your own opinions. You apologized for things that weren't even your fault. You made yourself smaller in rooms where you deserved to take up space. You stayed silent when you should have spoken. You stayed when you should have walked away. And at night, when the world got quiet, you lay there staring at the ceiling, wondering why you feel so lost, wondering why, no matter how much you do, it never feels like enough, wondering if anyone sees how hard you're trying. I see it, and I need you to hear this next part very carefully. That feeling, that hollow, drained, invisible feeling you've been carrying, it's not because you're broken. It's not because you're weak. It's because you've been abandoning yourself every single day while desperately trying to be everything for everyone else. You've been fighting battles for people who won't even acknowledge the war. You've been building other people's futures while yours sits untouched, collecting dust, waiting, still waiting. Lou Holtz once said something that changed everything for me. He said, "It's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it." And you've been carrying the wrong load. You've been carrying everyone's expectations, everyone's judgments, everyone's version of who you should be, instead of becoming who you are. That weight was never yours to carry. And the moment you realize that, the moment it truly sinks in, everything begins to shift. But first, you have to face something uncomfortable, something most people spend their entire lives running from. Nobody is coming to save you. Read that again. Nobody is coming to save you, not your friends, not your family, not the person you've been waiting on, not the opportunity you've been hoping will fall from the sky, not the perfect moment you keep telling yourself is just around the corner. There is no rescue. There is no cavalry. There is only you, standing exactly where your choices brought you, with a decision to make. And that truth might sting. It might make you angry. It might make you want to close this and walk away. Good. Let it sting. Because that sting, that sharp, uncomfortable burn in your chest right now, that is the feeling of something waking up inside you. Here's the harsh reality most people refuse to accept. You are not where you want to be. Not because of bad luck. Not because the world is unfair. Not because you didn't get the same chances as someone else. You are exactly where you are because of what you have and haven't been willing to do. Because of the excuses you kept choosing over action. Because of the comfort you chose over growth. Because of the opinions you feared more than your own potential. Every single time you chose distraction over discipline, you paid a price. Every single time you said, "I'll start tomorrow," tomorrow never came. Every single time you let someone else's voice drown out your own, You lost a little more of yourself. And here's what nobody wants to tell you. Time doesn't wait. Time does not negotiate. Time does not care about your feelings. Time does not pause while you get comfortable. It moves relentlessly, ruthlessly. And every day you spend sleepwalking through your own life is a day you will never get back. Holtz built champions. He walked into locker rooms full of talented, capable, gifted human beings, and the first thing he did was tell them the truth. He didn't coddle them. He didn't comfort them with pretty lies. He looked them in the eyes and said, "You are capable of so much more than you are currently producing." And that's what I'm telling you right now. You are capable of so much more than you are currently producing. The problem isn't your talent. You have talent. The problem isn't your intelligence. You have that too. The problem, the real problem, is that you stopped believing you were worth the effort. You started treating yourself like a second option, like a backup plan, like someone who has to earn the right to be taken seriously. You started asking for permission to take up space in your own life. Stop. Stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. Stop shrinking so others don't feel threatened by your growth. Stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. Stop apologizing for having standards, for having dreams, for refusing to settle. The moment you stop apologizing for who you are is the moment your entire life changes direction. But changing direction requires something most people are terrified of. It requires you to look in the mirror and make a decision. Not tomorrow. Not when things calm down. Not when you feel ready. Right now. What if everything you've been through, every setback, every rejection, every moment someone made you feel like you weren't enough, what if none of it was punishment? What if it was preparation? Shift that perspective for just one moment. Every person who doubted you, they were sharpening you. Every door that closed in your face, it was redirecting you. Every painful season you survived, it was building something inside you that comfort never could. You didn't break. Think about that. Everything that was designed to destroy you failed. You are still here, still breathing, still fighting, still standing. That is not weakness. That is not luck. That is evidence of who you are. And it's time you started treating yourself like the evidence proves. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. You have been living your life from the outside in, measuring your worth by what others reflect back at you. Letting the world define your value, waiting for external permission to feel good about yourself. That ends today, because the most powerful decision you will ever make is the decision to live from the inside out, to stop asking the world what you're worth and start telling it. Holtz didn't coach average. He refused to accept it from himself, from his players, from anyone in his circle. He had one relentless standard: do right, do your best, treat others the way you want to be treated. Simple, uncompromising, powerful. And it started with how he saw himself. That's where everything starts, how you see yourself. Because here is the truth that will set you free. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give your best to the world while treating yourself like you are the least important person in it. You cannot build something extraordinary on a foundation of self-neglect. Valuing yourself is not vanity. Say that again. Valuing yourself is not vanity. It is not arrogance. It is not selfishness. It is not ego. It is the most responsible, courageous, necessary thing you can do for yourself, for the people you love, for the life you are meant to live. When you value yourself, you stop accepting relationships that drain you. When you value yourself, you stop tolerating environments that shrink you. When you value yourself, you stop chasing people who treat you like an option. When you value yourself, you start making decisions that align with your destiny instead of your fears. You start saying no without guilt. You start saying yes without hesitation. You start moving through the world like someone who belongs everywhere they go, because you do. You belong at the table. You belong in the room. You belong in the conversation. Not someday. Not when you've proved yourself. Not when you've earned it. Right now, exactly as you are, with everything you've been through, you belong. And focus, real focus, begins the moment you decide that your life, your growth, your peace, your future, they are worth protecting, worth fighting for, worth saying no to distractions for, worth waking up early for, worth being uncomfortable for. Focus isn't just about where you point your eyes, it's about where you point your energy. And for too long, you've been pointing it everywhere except at yourself. Every distraction you entertain is a vote against your own future. Every toxic relationship you maintain is a withdrawal from your potential. Every hour you spend consuming instead of creating is time borrowed from the person you're supposed to become. Redirect, recalibrate, refocus, not on perfection, not on some impossible standard. Focus on progress, focus on growth, focus on becoming, one decision at a time, someone who no longer abandons themselves. That is the shift. That is the turning point. And you are standing right on the edge of it. You feel that? That thing stirring inside your chest right now, that's not hope. Hope is passive. Hope sits and waits. What you're feeling right now is something fiercer than hope. That's hunger. And it's been starving, quietly, patiently, waiting for you to finally feed it. So feed it. Because this is the moment everything accelerates. This is where the speech ends and the story begins. Your story. The one you've been postponing, the one you've been editing down to make other people comfortable, the one you've been too afraid to live out loud. That story starts now. And it starts with one decision. The decision to stop living divided. You know exactly what a divided life feels like. Part of you showing up. The perform version, the safe version, the version that says the right things and laughs at the right times and never lets anyone see how deeply you've been struggling. And then the other part, the real part, locked away. Buried under layers of people-pleasing and self-doubt and quiet desperation. You've been living as a fraction of yourself. And fractions don't build legacies. Whole people do. Decided people do. Focused people do. Lou Holtz took the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a program that had lost its identity, lost its confidence, lost its fire, and in one season transformed them into champions. How? Not with talent. They already had talent. Not with strategy alone. Strategy without belief is just theory. He did it by making them decide. He made them decide who they were going to be. He made them decide what they were going to stand for. He made them decide every single morning that mediocrity was no longer acceptable. Decision is the most underrated force in human life. You don't drift into greatness. You decide into it. You don't accidentally stumble upon a life that matters. You build it brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice, with the ruthless, relentless, unwavering decision that you are done playing small. So decide right now. Decide that distraction no longer has a seat at your table. Decide that the opinions of people who aren't building anything no longer carry weight in your mind. Decide that every morning you open your eyes is an opportunity, not an obligation. Decide that your energy is currency, and you will stop spending it on things that bankrupt your soul. Decide that you are not available for everything and everyone that demands your attention, because focused people are selective people. Champions are not people who do everything. Champions are people who do the right things, repeatedly, consistently, without apology, when no one is watching, when it's hard, when it's boring, when every part of them wants to quit. They show up anyway. You have to show up anyway, not when you're inspired. Inspiration is a visitor. It comes and goes. Discipline is a resident. It stays, it compounds, it builds something that inspiration alone never could. Build the discipline of showing up for yourself. Build the discipline of protecting your focus like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Your attention is your life. Wherever your focus goes, your life follows. If you focus on limitations, you live a limited life. If you focus on distractions, you live a distracted life. But if you focus on growth, on purpose, on becoming the fullest, most powerful version of yourself, your life will expand in ways you cannot yet imagine. This is not motivation. This is mechanics. This is how transformation works. It works through repetition, through recommitment, through the daily, sometimes hourly, decision to choose yourself over the chaos that surrounds you. And right now, in this moment, the momentum is building. Can you feel it? That's not just emotion, that's direction. That's your life beginning to point somewhere that matters. Don't slow down. Don't look back. Don't you dare apologize for finally moving forward. The world didn't pause when you were struggling. Don't pause now that you're rising. Rise. Rise with everything you have. Rise with every scar, every lesson, every sleepless night that taught you something about who you are. Rise, not in spite of what you've been through. Rise because of it. Because everything you survived was fuel, and you are about to burn. I want you to think about someone, not a celebrity, not a hero from a movie screen, someone real. Think about the version of you 5 years from now who made the decision, who chose focus over distraction, who chose self-worth over self-abandonment, who chose to show up fully, completely, unapologetically for their own life. Picture that person, the way they carry themselves, the peace in their eyes, the quiet confidence in how they move through a room, the way they speak, and not from fear, not from people pleasing, but from a deep, unshakable knowing of who they are and what they stand for. That person is not a fantasy. That person is a possibility. And the only thing standing between you and that version of yourself is the decision you make in the next moment. Not the next year, not the next chapter, the next moment. This one, right here. Because here is what I need you to understand, truly understand, in the deepest part of who you are. You were not placed on this earth to merely survive. You were not built to drift, to settle, to watch other people live the lives you dream about while you sit on the sidelines, waiting, hesitating, shrinking. You were made for more, not more money, not more applause, not more validation from people who never fully saw you, more meaning, more alignment, more truth, more of the electric, terrifying, beautiful feeling of living a life that is genuinely, completely yours. Lou Holtz stood in front of young men who doubted themselves, who came from broken places, who carried wounds they never talked about, who had been told in 100 different ways that they weren't quite enough. And he looked at them, not with pity, but with absolute, unblinking belief. He saw what they couldn't see in themselves, and he refused to let them settle for the version of themselves that fear had built. That's what I'm doing right now. I am refusing to let you settle. I am standing here in this moment looking at everything you are, everything you've survived, everything you've carried, everything you've quietly endured while the world kept moving around you. And I am telling you, with every ounce of conviction I possess, you are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are not too old, not too young, not too damaged, not too ordinary. You are exactly who this moment needs. And this moment needs you to rise. Not perfectly. Rise anyway. Not fearlessly. Rise afraid. Not with all the answers. Rise with the questions still unanswered. And move forward anyway. Because courage was never the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that something matters more than the fear. Your life matters more than the fear. Your dreams matter more than the fear. Your peace, your joy, your potential, your legacy. They all matter more than the fear. So let the fear come. Let it sit in the passenger seat if it has to. But you stay behind the wheel. You control the direction. You control the speed. You control where this life goes from this moment forward. Nobody else. Not your past. Your past is a teacher, not a prison. Not your failures. Your failures are data, not definitions, not other people's opinions. Their opinions are noise, and you were born to make music. This is your life, one shot. One irreplaceable, non-refundable, breathtakingly brief window of time to become everything you were created to be. And you are spending it. Every day, you are spending it. The only question is on what? On fear, on comfort, on other people's agendas, or on yourself? On your growth, your healing, your becoming. On the quiet, daily, extraordinary act of choosing over and over and over again to value the person staring back at you in the mirror. Because that person right there, they have been waiting for you to stop running, waiting for you to stop hiding, waiting for you to finally turn around and say, I see you, I believe in you, I am not leaving you behind anymore. That moment, that sacred, private, powerful moment is available to you right now, not after you fix everything, not after you figure it all out, right now, in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the uncertainty, in the middle of the becoming. Right now, you can decide that you matter, that your focus matters, that your future matters, that you, all of you, every complicated, imperfect, extraordinary piece of you are worth every single thing you've been too afraid to give yourself. Claim it, own it, step into it, because the world has been waiting long enough for the real you to show up, and so have you. This is it. This is the moment, not the beginning of a feeling, the beginning of a life, a different life, a focused life, a life built on the unshakable foundation of someone who finally finally chose themselves. But let me be direct with you one last time. This speech ends, the music fades, the screen goes dark, and you will be left alone with the same life, the same choices, the same mirror you've been avoiding. And in that silence, the world will test you. It will offer you distraction. It will serve you doubt. It will parade every comfortable excuse across your mind and whisper, maybe tomorrow, maybe when you're ready, maybe when things are easier. And you will have to choose. In that moment, you will have to choose. So choose now, before the silence comes, before the noise returns, before the world tries to pull you back into the version of yourself you've outgrown. Make the commitment right now, not to perfection. Commit to progress, not to never falling. Commit to always rising, not to having everything figured out. Commit to figuring it out, one courageous, focused, self-respecting day at a time. Lou Holtz didn't ask his players to be perfect. He asked them to do three things that sound simple, but will absolutely transform your life if you live them with everything you have. Do what is right. Do your best. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's it. That's the entire blueprint. Do what is right, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, even when the easier path is right in front of you. Choose integrity over convenience every single time. Do your best, not someone else's best, not the best you think people expect from you. Your best, the best that lives inside the truest, most focused, most committed version of you. Bring that version to everything you touch and treat others the way you want to be treated, starting with yourself. Treat yourself with the same grace you give everyone else, the same patience, the same encouragement, the same fierce, unconditional belief. Start there. Start today. Not with a grand gesture, not with a dramatic overhaul of your entire life overnight. Start with one decision this morning that honors who you are. Wake up 1 hour earlier. Write the first line. Make the call. Set the boundary. Walk away from what drains you. Walk toward what ignites you. Do one thing today that the old you would have postponed, then do it again tomorrow and the day after that. Because greatness is not a moment. Greatness is a morning routine, a daily standard. A quiet, private, non-negotiable commitment to becoming relentlessly, patiently, powerfully the person your potential has always demanded. You are not building a highlight reel. You are building a life. And lives are built in the ordinary moments, in the moments nobody sees, in the moments when you choose discipline over distraction, focus over noise, self-worth over self-sabotage. Those moments are happening right now. This is one of them. So here is your challenge, not next week, not when you feel inspired, not when circumstances align. Today, look in the mirror and say it out loud. Say, I matter. My time matters. My focus matters. My life matters. And then prove it with your actions, with your choices, with the way you spend the next hour, the next day, the next year. Prove it by protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Prove it by pursuing your purpose like your life depends on it, because it does. Prove it by refusing, absolutely refusing, to spend another single day living below what you are capable of. You have survived everything that tried to stop you. You are still here, still breathing, still dreaming, still capable of something extraordinary. The question was never whether you could do it. The question is whether you will. Will you? Will you finally focus right with everything you have on becoming who you were always meant to be? Will you finally value yourself, not someday, not eventually, but right now, in this moment, with this breath? Will you finally rise fully, completely, without apology, into the life that has been waiting for you? I believe you will. I believe in the fighter inside you that refused to quit even when quitting would have been so much easier. I believe in the dreamer inside you that still lights up at the thought of what's possible. I believe in the human being inside you, imperfect, resilient, remarkable, who deserves every good thing they've been too afraid to ask for. Now go. Go and be that person. Go and build that life. Go and focus like the world has never seen focus before. Go and value yourself like everything depends on it. Because it does. It always did. Now you know. Now go.